Om Vasudevasutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Gadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 18, known as Moksha, attainment of liberation, an absolute renunciation, gives you a whole essence of the Gita teachings, highlighting the point that how to all that teachings to be brought in daily life. Practical aspect, that's the highlight of 18th. And many points have been already presented to you based on three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Everything in this world can be studied according to the three modes. You sit, are we sitting sattvically, rajasically, tamasically? Everything, I'm not joking at the same time, it's a detailed understanding. And that gives your life a flavor. You have something to adjust. There's always an opening for self-effort. And that's the way the whole world is rigged up. Even if you sit in a garden, you don't stay completely relaxed. A little swarm of flies start coming to your nose. And you have to go on removing. I will not go into too much detail. The idea is to become constantly vigilant in a very spontaneous way, develop a profound mystic hobby of highlighting sattva. You sit in the chair, how should you sit? Crooked. I've been doing it myself. I'm joking. How to maintain sattvic level, turn to sattva. And that requires good guidance and a discipline in daily life with the influence of satsanga. Now coming to the more serious topic, 41 verse. Brahmana kshatriya visham shudranam cha parantapa karmani parvibhaktani swabhava parvavair gunai. O Parantapa, Krishna addresses Arjuna by saying, O scorcher of your foes. Always you are given that allegorical point. To be a spiritual aspirant, you shouldn't be scorched by your foes. It should be other way around. Table should. Perverted desires, kama, anger, krodha, greed, lobha, mada, pride, matsarya, jealousy, moha, infatuation. These are the enemies that degrade your consciousness. And they bring lots of miseries. So instead of being dominated by the foes, these are the foes. They create a lot of fuss. Instead of foes scorching you, you scorch them. In other words, be master of your temper. If you are, all those that seem like negative, anger and sometimes even greed and many things, they are part of your personality. But you can direct it for sattvic purpose. This point I have explained to you. You are not asked to become absolutely angerless. If that is so, you cannot maintain your practical life. I have given the example of a child your baby is going to touch fire. And you have learnt in the Vedas, Vedanta, not to be angry. So when the child goes, oh child, how wonderful you look. Instead, you have to rush to the child, push the child away. That appears like an expression of anger. But that's part of practical reality. That is not, the message is not to become completely like a stone, but to be able to handle various sentiments according to the need of the situation you are facing. With the highlight that whatever sentiments, etc., you are utilizing it for a profounder purpose. So, all that I'm leading you to understand that foes and friends, they are always there with every individual. Friendly source is your very soul. And do not allow the foes to take over you. Do not allow sorrows, anxieties, sadness, anger, hate, jealousy dominate your mind and starve your brain for oxygen. All that you express through your sentiments, they dance upon your brain centers, negative way or positive way. So for your own purpose, to be divine, follow a sadhana is profound selfishness. I'm talking about that little self, big self. Selfishness is bad. That keeps you confined to a shell. Being in a shell, that's called selfishness. Emerging out of the shell, spreading the wings, that's a bigger selfishness. The real self, from false self to real self. According to the gunas with which they are born, all human beings, they are led by their karmas. And every individual comes in a family where there is already a whole plan is presented to the baby how to grow. If the family has been of musicians, the baby looks at the musical setup, etc. The family has been farmers. The baby is introduced to seeds and flowers and so many things. And similarly, if you come in the family of mathematicians, they are hearing about mathematics. Soul can be drawn to a family suited to its evolution. And the type of activity that presents itself to the soul according to its karma, that type can be studied according to the three gunas. Sattvic, if the sattvic, then you are Brahmana. If it is Rajasic, you are a Kshatriya. If Rajas is moving towards Tamas, not completely Tamas, then you are a Vaishya. And Tamas increases more, then you are Shudra. Another point you have to understand, these three gunas, they are not to be evaluated as positive or negative. These three are the basic constituents of your personality. If tamas is not there in you, you can't sleep. If rajas is not there, you can't do any activity. You sit on the chair and stay stuck, burn in samadhi. If sattva is not there, you can't have any time for peace. All the three gunas have to be there, but they have to be in balance. And sattva should not be drowned by rajas and tamas. If it happens, then you are not enriching your life in a profound, you are not living your life is shallow. From a very broad point of view, in India, these four classes are more distinctly studied, and culture has followed the four classes. That is, say, in a Brahman's family, children born in Brahman family, they will automatically get into scriptures and follow the footsteps of their parents. Those who are born in the military type of family, they follow their father's illustration. They don't wait to go through this college and university. You see, you're born in the family, and you're born in the family of goldsmiths, one who works with gold and melting the gold, etc. Children learn it by watching what's happening in the. You're born in the family of a farmer. In other words, many talents begin to develop without your going into school and college. You have the basis from your past karmas. And there was a society at a time when external education was not so highlighted. People studied, they followed the family. So in Brahmin's family, people became Brahmins. In Kshatriya family, they became Kshatriyas. And Vaishya family, Vaishyas. But what I'm leading you to understand, that concept has its own value. More practical understanding, no matter what family you are born in, if you are inspired, if you follow according to your own inspiration, you may follow Brahmana type, you may follow Kshatriya type, Vaishya or Shudra. Another point to understand, these four types are neither superior or inferior. They are of equal importance. Let me give you deeper insight. Brahmana means you are following the path leading to Brahman. Also, what I'm leading you on to understand, that everyone is a blend of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. In your kitchen, you are a Shudra. Handling money matters, you become a Vaishya. Controlling people, you become a Kshatriya. Giving them spiritual teachings, creating satsanga, you have become a Brahmana. all these four must enter your personality. At the same time, one of these four may be more highlighted in you. Just like we have talked about four yogas, karma yoga, yoga, dhyana yoga, jnana yoga. Jnana yoga is Brahmana. Dhyana yoga is Kshatriya. Bhakti yoga is Vaishya. You will be surprised. Because bhakti changes your values. In Durga Saptashati, soul is described as King Suratha, whose friend is Samadhi, Vaishya. In other words, if you practice dhyana, meditation, there will be a change in values. Let me first go back to the precision. Brahmana is jnana. Kshatriya is dhyana. Vaishya is upasana, meditation, devotional meditation. And Shudra, karma, action. All yogas are those four classes. Let me also give you the meaning behind it. Brahmana, I have already said, that leads you to Brahman. Kshatriya, that movement that protects three aspects of your consciousness. Three aspects called Triputi, triad. If you dream, in your dream, there is a dream subject, dream world, dream experience. All the three are in haywires, not under control. So a dream gives you a good understanding. In order to wake up, all the three must move away, then you wake up. In order to enjoy a good dream, all the three must improve and be positive. Same applies in your daily life. Kshatriya movement is that which brings a change in your understanding of who you are. A change in a positive way. A change in the understanding of the world that you deal with. And a change in understanding the experiences of pleasure and pain. Kshatriya movement protects you in all the three aspects. And it is from that word Kshatriya comes chata. The world is full of rails. Create a chata, an umbrella. Kshatriya movement, again from practical point of view, that was the role in society. Kshatriya movement is to protect all other members of society, Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, all society. Kshatriya movement is political movement to keep everybody in order. That's from practical level, but I'm more concerned, more focused on giving you spiritual insight. Because the practical world is world of history, and that will go on and on endless. But what you gain by studying the world is how to make an inner change within yourself and gain the purpose of life. So I've told you about Brahmana's role, Kshatriyas, they bring umbrella for whole society. And that's the meaning of the Kshatriya, Ksha Raksha, protecting, Triya, three aspects. Next one is called Vaishya. Vaishya, SH and Y. SH is the root letter for auspiciousness, Kalyan. Y relates to your heart. that which brings great joy in your heart. Bring your mind to a very practical way to understand. For countless families and people all over the world, what brings joy in their heart? Money. Vaishya movement brings bhakti and dhyana, devotion and meditation, that enables you to understand that you have invaluable treasure in your heart. You have the possibility of attaining spiritual wealth. Material wealth comes and goes. You had so many things and you have kicked them. And kicking never tires your feet. You go kicking, I'm joking, but understand. All the wealth of the world doesn't make you really wealthy. So if you are a really businessman doing the little real business, not monkey business, they want to be really rich. If you are really rich, then you are always in luxury. Even in a broken bed, you are relaxed. You are in luxury. And Shudra term, SH term is again same. Auspiciousness, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, that SH. All that is good, the potential in human being. All that good potentiality unfolds. Dra, same like Drupada, allowing your feet to move fast, to bring out the goodness in your heart. And Shudra movement is very simple movement. You don't need to be qualified by following a rigid discipline. In other words, to be an office boss, he has to go through a lot of problems. Becoming his secretary is an easy job. Shudra movement, putting more in a precise way, it's a movement to remove malas, gross impurities. In a house, Shudra movement, in society, Shudras do that work, all the dirty things they go after. And in a society that is not very cultured, they let them do that work, and at the same time they go on developing a sense of superiority, a kind of a hatred towards them, that they are so filled with filth, they should stay far. Giving you some pictures of practical reality. And there has been big movement in India, Harijan movement. That error in society has taken people away from religion, far away. Those who are cleansing up your dirty things, and you have such bad feeling towards, that's completely perverted religion. So much so they were not allowed to be in the temple. And it took so much effort in India by Mahatma Gandhi and many people to break that. And nowadays, still some people have their own way. But broadly, that type of limited, perverted culture is getting correct. And that attitude again must come. Society holds that type of attitude towards people who are doing menial works. But you must realize how much you are benefited by them. And that type of work is a part of practical reality. How much a mother works to help a baby growing. All type of work. I don't want to describe it. So for a cultured and spiritually progressive society, all these four must be well recognized and reverenced. And coming to more profounder way, every aspirant must understand the role of all these four aspects. You are a Brahmana. Understand, gain spiritual understanding, and share it with others. Develop a quality of jnana yajna. Don't turn to yourself, oh, I'm not a Brahmana, so I'm not going to preach. Everyone has the possibility to radiate, to share goodness of your understanding with others. And that is a great delight for any society, to have Brahmana type of people who take up the job of bringing spiritual understanding, spiritual culture to children, to grown-ups, to others, giving them profound understanding of purpose of life, the joy of enjoying so many religious inspirations that have come down through the passage of time. All great personalities, all saints and sages and their inspiring teachings. But here again, I'm not trying to distract your mind with so many things. According to your possibilities, according to your swadharma, the type of culture that has come down to you, if you are a Hindu, follow Gita, Upanishad, many parables from the scriptures, share with others. If in that doing that, you have also the opportunity to pick up some spicy things from the Christian, from the Islam, put them together. Be a good kitchener. Never feel that any religion is lesser or higher. Then you are really following the good path. And likewise, follow the path of Kshatriya, which implies control your mind and senses, be a warrior. The whole life is a battle. Sto luchando. And likewise, develop divine virtues, divine wealth, be rich. And develop dasya bhavana, surrender to God, I'm nothing. Having given you a general idea of the four castes, four orders, now more details are being given in 42nd verse. Shamo damah tapah shaucham kshantir arjavam evacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma swabhavajam. They're like pearls of wisdom. If you develop these, that's the Brahmana aspect in you, which is the highest sattva aspect. And what are they? First quality, Shama. Shama is love of peace. And you should develop this religious addiction. how to enjoy peace, how to create an opportunity for being peaceful in yourself and people around you. Very simple mantra. But its effect in your life is beyond your imagination. And enjoy having promoted peaceful situation. Then you are performing the duty of a Brahmana. Shama. Now, every guna, every virtue has many levels. From another angle, Shama is the quality of serenity of mind. Deep down, you have to understand that the greatest attainment, which is God realization, that will be possible only if you have cultivated serenity in a profound way. Turn your attention to the four gatekeepers of liberation. Mind that is not shaken by adversity or prosperity. When we say that, you have to understand the deeper point. Adversity should not make you feel miserable, helpless, degraded. Prosperity should not make you feel egoistic, developing superiority complex, inflated ego. Rather understand adversity and prosperity, these are passing situations. You are like a tree. Adversity and prosperity is like breeze, allowing the tree to come this way, that way. And you are to be benefited by both. Turn your attention to the benefit, not how you are doing, shaking. So then you have developed a subtle taste of serenity, even though you are shaking. You have to understand you have two types of shaking. One shaking is due to weakness, you can't hold yourself straight. Another shaking is because you are so joyous you are dancing. Both are shaking, but there is a difference. When you develop Shama, then your shaking aspect becomes purposeful. It begins to enrich you in a profound way. Because you handle both with a profound understanding. Adversity is giving you a challenge. Prosperity is giving you opportunity for humility. Both are utilized for attaining spiritual advancement. And therefore, even if nothing is happening, neither prosperity or adversity, you are enjoying serenity. And that's highlighted in the Ramayana. Prasannatam yana gatabhishekata tathana mamle banavasa dukkata. Rama's face didn't light up when he heard from Dasharatha, you are going to be the heir apparent to the throne. You are going to be the king of kings. And in a very few days, this whole scene changed. Kaikeyi brought about a change. And Rama was given, he was sent to forest, banished to forest. And when he hears that you are banished, his face doesn't lose its luster. Rather, he finds both wonderful. Rather, he highlights going to the forest. How fortunate. Instead of this massive, mucky politics, going to satsanga. I'm joking. Next word, Dhamma. Dhamma is controlling the mind and senses. That's the divine quality in every individual. We remember that story of Brahma giving the word Da, one letter Da, to three types of people: godly, human, asura, that's rajasic, demoniac, and godly person, godly representative says by Da he means he understands Dhamma, control the mind and senses. Human level, Da means Dan, charity. In another level, that is negative in you, lower self, Daya, compassion. If you develop compassion, the demoniac nature begins to dissolve. If you develop charity, your human nature becomes to blossom and goes into higher level. If you practice control of mind and senses, your divine nature, who am I, that begins to shine forth. So that term, Dhamma. If you don't have Dhamma, you get Dhamma. What is Dhamma? It's kind of a TV. It's not TB, TV, TB. No strength in your lungs. Next quality is called Tapa. Tapa is austerity. Do not be swayed by enjoyments. Always have a mind that doesn't allow you to go into extremes, controls you, called samyama. And if you have that quality of mantra of sanjama, that's the secret behind all types of success. If you are a student, you will be very successful. Business person, you will be successful. Because you will not be swayed by your mood. You will control yourself. Simply because it seems so wonderful, just stay awake watching this show for a whole night. Just joking, but you understand that's why. Do not tune the string too tight. It will break. The music will not come out of it. If you don't tune it well, keep it loose, then also music will not come out. I'm talking about the string instrument. Neither too tight nor too loose. That quality is called tapas, austerity. Another word is samyama. Next quality, purity. Word is shauch. It is external and internal. External purity, I don't have to give you too much because doctors are there, very eloquent, talking about how to keep cleanliness. Internal purity, Raj Yoga uses these terms, sattva shuddhi. Sattva increases in your heart. And it has many wondrous effects. Saumanasya, mind remains serene and joyous. It doesn't stay in a state of stress. Aikagriya, you develop ability to be focused. When you do any work, your mind, you don't have to collect your mind, automatically mind goes one-pointed. Indriya Jaya. And senses become like pet animals. They are under your control. They don't dominate you. I'm talking about a good type of handling animals, you see. Otherwise, there are people who are dominated by the animals. Atmadarshan Yogyata, and become a deserving aspirant for attaining God realization. All that comes from the purity of the heart. Any movement leading to that, that's the practice of shaucham. Anger, hate, greed, they are all malas, gross impurities. They spread around in the temple of your heart like onions and garlics and lots of things that rot. But keeping the heart free of this allows you to discover the heavenly aroma of divine presence that's beyond your imagination. Next quality is called kshanti. Kshanti, kshama-vritti. In various dealings with people, there are times when your toes are crushed by others and you can't forgive. But if you are highly advanced, you learn the art of not only forgiving them, but completely forgetting about it, not to hold on. That I have forgiven that person 3 times. Then you look in your diary. It was January the 15th. There was April the 30th. The September the 19th. You forgiven. That's our kshama-vritti. Kshama-vritti is kind of a motherly love. Child makes mistakes. Mother doesn't remember all those mistakes. Oh, she says, how cute. That's good titi. It's a secret doctrine. The greatness of any person, any greatness of saintliness expresses in the form of that great quality of kshama, which you see in the Bible, Jesus turning to those who led him to crucifixion. Forgive them, they know not. And Krishna at the time of death sees the person who discharged arrow at his sole of his foot. And the person is shivering. Krishna says, don't. You have done good to me. It's my own will. And you will be going to the highest level. So, hunter, don't grieve for me. So all religions point to that stage of possessing a heart and understanding in such a way that you don't hold anybody as your enemy, no matter how things happen. Jo toko kaata buai, tahi boi tu fool. Kabira says, people who are intent upon injuring you, and in a very ordinary way, as if sowing thorns on your path and covering up with some little soft. and you come out and you are injured. And soon you figure out who did that. Now, instead of developing a negative way of approach, now let me punish that person. Instead of doing that, you create a deceptive device that, unaware of him, do something very good to him. So, tahi boi tu fool. The result is, all through this experience, your mind enjoyed a divine opportunity of having good-heartedness. And then the Kabir says, Wako hai tirsool. Literal meaning is, a trident goes after his neck. But that's to suit the masses. Masses cannot hear. Something benefits goes to the enemy. The real meaning is, your enemy is subjected to threefold change. Already I have talked about it. The Tirshul goes to wake you up from waking dream to a waking state. In other words, your heart is sabko sanmati de Bhagavan. Your heart is never agreeing to see your enemy suffer, no matter whatever he might have done. Your enemy could have been your own baby of the past life. That's the reality. It's not a question of hesitation about it. Arjava, another word. Arjava is straightforwardness. Thought, word, and deed. They should not be crooked, thinking something else. Internally, you have the thoughts, let this person go to hell. Not, but in your words, fascinating words. I've been always waiting for it. And action, deceptive. Thought, word, and action, they must be in harmony, in order. Then you feel well with yourself. And you are in a position to discover your inner divine treasure. But if you are not, then you are just like you are living with a body. Your feet move that way, your waist moves that way, neck moves the other way. It looks very laughable. And we will conclude at this stage. We have taken up a lot of time. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Hari Om.